Om Gananantva Ganapatigam Mavamahe Kavim Kavinamupavashravastramam Jayajam Brahmanan Anushranoti Siddha Sadhanam Om Mahaganadipataye Namaha Hari Om Hari Om. We are coming to the chapter 22, summary of the chapter 22. It shows that this chapter describes the orbits of the planets. The orbits of the planets are described in this chapter. According to the movements of the moon and other planets, all the inhabitants of the universe are prone to auspicious and inauspicious situations. This is referred to as the influence of the stars. In the birth chart of all the people, they go to astrologer and Jyotishi and describe the details of the stars in the horoscope. That's the orbit planets. The sun god, who controls the affairs of the entire universe, especially in regard to heat, light, and seasonal changes and so on, is considered an expansion of Narayana. He represents the three Vedas, Rigveda, Yajurveda, and Samaveda, and therefore he is known as Traimaya, the form of Lord Narayana. Sometimes the sun god is also called Surya Narayana. The sun god has expanded himself in 12 divisions, and thus he controls the 6 seasonal changes and causes winter, summer, rainy season, and so on. Yogis and karmis following the Varnashrama institution, who practices Hatha and Ashtanga Yoga, or who perform Agnihotra sacrifices, worship Surya Narayana for their own benefit. The other gods, the Surya Narayana, is always in touch with Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayana, residing in outer space, which is in the middle of the universe between Bhuloka and Bhurloka. The sun rotates through the time circle of the zodiac, represented by 12 rashis or signs, and assumes different names according to the sign he is in. For the moon, every month is divided into 2 fortnights. Similarly, according to solar calculation, a month is equal to the time the sun spends in one constellation. 2 months constitute one season, and there are 12 months in a year. The entire area of the sky is divided into 2 halves, each represent an ayana. The course traversed by the sun within the period of 6 months. The sun travels sometimes slowly, sometimes slightly swiftly, sometimes at moderate speed. In this way, it travels within the 3 worlds, consisting of the heavenly planets, the earthly planets, and outer space. These orbits are referred to by great learned scholars by the names Samvatsara, Parivatsara, Idavatsara, Anuvatsara, and Vatsara. The moon is situated 100,000 yojanas above the rays of sunshine. The moon is situated 100,000 yojanas above the rays of the sunshine. Day and night on the heavenly planets and Pitruloka are calculated according to its waning and waxing of the moon. Above the moon, by a distance of 200,000 yojanas, are some stars, and above these stars, Shukra Graha, Venus, whose influence is always auspicious for the inhabitants of the entire universe. Above Shukra Graha, by 200,000 yojanas, is Buddha Graha, Mercury, whose influence is sometimes auspicious, sometimes inauspicious. Next, above Buddha Graha, by 200,000 yojanas, is Angaraka, Mars, which almost always has an unfavorable influence to the inhabitants of the universe. Above Angaraka, by another 200,000 yojanas, is the planet called Brihaspati Graha, Jupiter, which is always very favorable for qualified Brahmanas. Above Brihaspati Graha is the planet Shaneshwara, Saturn, which is very inauspicious according to some astrologer. And above Saturn is a group of 7 stars occupied by great saintly persons who are always thinking of the welfare of the entire universe. These 7 stars circumambulate Dhruvaloka, which is the residence of Lord Vishnu within this universe. Saptarushi Mandala, it is called Saptarushi Mandala, and Dhruva is in the center of the 7 stars, which is the residence of Vishnu within the universe. King Parikshit Raja inquired from Shukadeva, "My dear Lord, you have already affirmed the truth that the supremely powerful sun god travels around the Dhruvaloka with both Dhruvaloka and Mount Sumeru on his right. At the same time, the sun god faces the signs of zodiac and keeps Sumeru and Dhruvaloka on his left. How can we reasonably accept that the sun god proceeds with Sumeru and Dhruvaloka on both his left and right simultaneously?" He's asking this question. So, Sukadeva Goswami, Shuka Maharishi, clearly answered, when a potter's wheel is moving, small ants located on that big wheel are moving with it. One can see their motion is different from that of the wheel because they appear sometimes on one part of the wheel and sometimes on the another. Similarly, the signs and constellations with the Sumeru and Dhruvaloka on their right move with wheel of time, and like sun and other planets move with them. The sun and planets, however, are seen in different signs and constellations at different times. This indicates that their motion is different from that of the zodiac and the wheel of time itself. The original cause of the cosmic manifestation is the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayana. When great saintly persons, fully aware of the Vedic knowledge, offered prayers to the Supreme Person, he descended to this material world in the form of sun to benefit all the planets and purify fruitive activities. He divided himself into 12 parts and created seasonal forms, beginning with spring. In this way, he created the seasonal qualities such as heat, cold, and so on. According to the system of 4 Varanas and 4 ashramas, people generally worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayana, who is situated as the sun god in the solar system. With great faith, they worship the Supreme Personality as the Super Soul according to ritualistic ceremonies handed down in the 3 Vedas, such as Agnihotra and similar higher and lower fruitive acts. And according to the process of mystic yoga, in this way, they very easily attain the ultimate goal of life. The sun god, or Surya Narayana, is a form of Vishnu, the soul of all the worlds. He is situated in the outer space between the upper and lower portions of the universe. Passing through 12 months on the wheel of time, the solar system, the sun comes in touch with 12 different signs of zodiac and assumes 12 different names according to those signs. That's what we call 12 Rashi, Mesha, Vrushabha, like that, Dhanu, Sagittarius, like that, and zodiac assumes 12 different names according to those signs. The aggregate of those 12 months is called Samvatsara. When all the 12 months together, we call it as one Samvatsara, or an entire year. According to the lunar calculation, 2 fortnights, one of the waxing moon and the other of the waning from 1 month, for 1 month. That same period is 1 day and 1 night for the planet of Pitraloka. According to the stellar calculations, a month equals 2 and 1/4 constellations. When the sun travels for 2 months, a season passes, and therefore the seasonal changes are considered parts of the body of the year. Thus, the time the sun takes to rotate through half of outer space is called an ayana, and its period of movement in the north or in the south direction. The sun god has the 3 speeds: low, slow, fast, and moderate. The time he takes to travel entirely around the spheres of heaven, earth, and space at these 3 speeds is referred to by learned scholars by the 5 names: Samvatsara, Parivatsara, Idavatsara, Anuvatsara, and Vatsara. According to the solar astronomical calculation, each year extends 6 days beyond the calendar year, and according to the lunar calculations, each year is 6 days shorter. Therefore, because of the movements of the sun and moon, there is a slight difference of 12 days between the solar and lunar calendars. As the Samvatsara, Parivatsara, and Idavatsara, Anuvatsara, and Vatsara pass by, 2 extra months are added within each 5 years. This makes the 6th Samvatsara But because that samvatsara is extra, the solar system is calculated according to the above 5 names. Above the rays of the sunshine by a distance of 100,000 yojanas, that means 800,000 miles, is the moon, which travels at a speed faster than that of the sun. In 2 lunar fortnights, the moon travels through the equivalent of samvatsara of the sun in 2.25 days. It passes through the month of the sun, and in 1 day it passes through the fortnight of the sun. When we take into account that moon is 100,000 yojanas or 800,000 miles above the rays of the sunshine, it is very surprising that the modern excursion to the moon could be possible. Since the moon is so distant, how the space vehicles could go there is a doubtful mystery sometimes. Modern scientific calculations are subject to one change after the other, and therefore they are uncertain. We have to accept the calculation of the Vedic literature. As per the Vedic calculation or study, the astronomical calculations made long ago and recorded in the Vedic literature are correct even now. Whether the Vedic calculations or modern ones are better may remain a mystery for some time. But as far as we are concerned, we accept the Vedic calculations to be the correct. When the moon is waxing, the illuminating portions of it increase daily, thus creating a day for the other gods and night for the Pitas. When the moon is waning, however, it causes night for the other gods and day of the Pitas. In this way, the moon passes through each constellation of stars in 30 muhurtas, an entire day. The moon is the source of nectarian coolness that influences the growth of the food grains, and therefore the moon god is considered the life of all living entities, is consequently called Jiva, the chief living being within the universe. Because the moon is full of all potentialities, it represents the influence of Supreme Personality of Godhead. The moon is the predominating deity of everyone's mind. Therefore, moon called Manomaya. So the moon controls the mind of a person. Mana is mind. Manomaya. He is also called Annamaya because he gives potency to all herbs and plants. And he is called Amrutamaya because he is the source of life for all living entities. The moon pleases the gods also, pitas also, human beings also, animals and birds, reptiles, trees, plants, and all other living entities. Everyone is satisfied by the presence of the moon. Therefore, the moon is called Sarvamaya, all pervading. There are many stars located 200,000 yojanas above the moon. By the supreme will of Supreme Personality of Godhead, they are fixed to the wheel of time, and thus they rotate the Mount Sumeru on their right, their motion being different from that of the sun. There are 28 important stars headed by Abhijit. The stars referred to herein are 1,600,000 miles above the sun, and thus they are 4 lakh miles above the earth. Some 1,600,000 miles above this group of stars is the planet Venus, which moves at the most exactly the same pace as the sun, according to Swift. Slow and moderate movements. Sometimes Venus moves behind the sun, sometimes in front of the sun, sometimes along with it. Venus nullifies the influence of planets that are obstacles to rainfall. Consequently, its presence causes rainfall, and it is therefore considered very favorable for all living beings within the universe as rain providing stars. This has been accepted by learned scholars. Mercury is described to be similar to Venus in that it moves sometimes behind the sun, sometimes in front of the sun, sometimes along with it. It is 1,600,000 miles above the Venus, or 7,200,000 miles above Earth. Mercury, which is the son of the moon, Mercury, which is the son of the moon god, is almost always very auspicious for the inhabitants of the universe. But when it does not move along with the sun, it forebodes cyclones. dust, irregular rainfall, and waterless clouds. In this way, it creates fearful conditions due to inadequate or excessive rainfall. Situated 1,600,000 miles above Mercury or 8,800,000 miles above Earth is the planet Mars. If this planet does not travel in a crooked way, it crosses through each sign of the zodiac in 3 fortnights, and in this way travels through all 12, one after another. It almost always creates unfavorable conditions in respect to rainfall and other influences. Situated 1,600,000 miles above Mars or 10,400,000 miles above Earth is the planet Jupiter, which travels through the one sign of the zodiac within the period of Parivatsara. If its movement is not curved, the planet Jupiter is very favorable to the Brahmanas of the universe. Situated 1,600,000 miles above Jupiter or 12 lakhs miles above Earth is the planet Saturn, which passes through the one sign of the zodiac in a 30 months and covers the entire zodiac circle in 30 Anuvatsaras. This planet is always very inauspicious as per the astrologers concerned for the universal situation. This is the very slowest moving planet. Situated 8,800,000 miles above Saturn or 20,800,000 miles above Earth are the seven saintly sages who are always thinking of the well-being of the inhabitants of the universe. They circumvallate the supreme abode of Lord Vishnu, known as Dhruvaloka, the pole star. Lord Vishnu, who is the source of knowledge and transcendental bliss, has assumed the form of Sushumara in the seventh heaven, which is situated in the topmost level of the universe. All the other planets, beginning with the Sun, exist under the shelter of this Sushumara planetary system. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports of 5th canto, 22nd chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam Puranam. Om Namo Anantaya Sahasramurte Sahasrapadakshirvasasnamne Purusharshte Sahasrakotiyugadarane Namaha Sahasrakotiyugadarane Namaha Kashat Paritam Medagit Sagaram Sarvadev Namaskaraha Sri Keshvam Pragatyo Namaha Sarva Vedeshat Pundam Sarva Tirteshu Yat Palam Tat Palam Pramapta Vasanad Vasdevasya Vasdante Jagatram Sarva Bhutane Vasose Vasdevamusude Kaya Navacha Manasendriya Buddhatmana Vapagate Sabhavat Karvam Yaddat Sagalam Parasmai Narayana Samarpayami, Narayana Samarpayami. Thus ends the 22nd chapter explaining the planetary system.